I believe there are 4 key emotional health skills that every human being should have. These are the 4 key things I teach my kids, but I think they should be taught in school. And I think we need to be reminded throughout our lives when we're dealing with the stresses and the transitions in life. So the first skill is a meditative practice. The second is cognitive therapy. The third is visualizing your goals rather than focusing on your problems. And the fourth is managing stress. So let's talk about that first one, a meditative practice. That could be prayer, it could be focused meditation, it could be mindfulness, being centered in everyday life. It causes us to stop and pause, to be in the moment and to reflect on our life, rather than being tossed around by the situation, being thrown about by emotions, or just reacting to life and not thinking about what matters most to us. So first, that meditative practice. My favorite is mindfulness, because that's something we can all do. So that gong goes off when I stop at a red light. I think about, what am I thinking, what am I doing, what am I feeling? Is it aligned with who I really am and where I want to go? Likewise, if I get an emotional reaction when I'm dealing with somebody else or something happens, that's a meditation gong. For me to pause and stop and reflect on that reaction. Am I responding to the situation proportionately? Is this my real self? And is there another way of looking at the situation rather than with anger, with sadness, or with anxiety? So a meditative practice helps us to pause and to think throughout the day. It doesn't have to be in yoga class, although that's helpful. But it's something that you integrate throughout the day as we respond to life as it comes to us. The second practice is cognitive therapy, and it sounds like something someone else does to you, that you have to see a therapist for it. But cognitive therapy is self-therapy, where you recognize the effect of your thoughts on your emotions. We know that your emotions can affect your feelings and the tone of your feelings and how you think. Like when we're depressed, we tend to think negatively. The cup is half full. In fact, it's full of dirty water and the cup is cracked, and not your favorite style either. But if you think of things in a positive way, the cup is overflowing and there is no limit to what you have. When we're anxious, we tend to overestimate the dangers or the things we need to deal with, and we underestimate our abilities to deal with it. So a common cognitive distortion, a change in our thinking that begets more anxiety, is catastrophizing, thinking about the worst case scenario, that things will be a disaster, and sometimes it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're going to do poorly on that interview, you probably will. If you think life is overwhelming, it probably will be. So to get over catastrophizing, look at the situation. Is it really as bad as I think it is? And maybe get a second opinion from someone else that knows you well and someone that knows the situation well. Another cognitive distortion is all or nothing thinking. And we do that often in our relationships. We paint one another as a caricature. We think of people as all good or all bad. So when we fall in love, they're all good. And then when we fall out of love, sometimes they seem all bad, or everything that they do, we shape in negativity. So another third cognitive distortion is mind reading. When someone says something or does something, sometimes we make assumptions that we know why they did it, that they purposely did it to harm us, to hurt us. And that might not otherwise be the case. So it's really important in relationships to check things out and to communicate. And don't assume that you can mind read, unless you do have magical powers. You can learn more about cognitive therapy from therapists, from counselors, from your family doctor. There's also great resources that you can find just in the library. So one of my favorite books for patients is Christine Podesky's Mind Over Mood. It's a workbook that shows you how to step by step, how your thoughts influence your mood and how you could change your thoughts and therefore change your mood. Another great book is Martin Seligman's Authentic Happiness. It talks to us about how we can be happier with the past by reframing and thinking about the past in a different way. Because again, that's the baggage that we bring forward to the present. It shades our thinking about how we deal with stresses and things that happen to us in the here and now. With cognitive therapy in the center section, it tells you how to be happy in the present and how to be happy with the situation you're in and to cope better. And finally, it helps us to recognize our signature strengths, to make sure what you find meaningful in your life, you integrate that into your daily life. So that really is the key to being happy into the future. The next skill that I think everyone should know is visualization. Because so often we're in a difficult situation, we focus on all the negative things in that situation. If we're feeling anxious, we continue to think in an anxious way. If we're feeling a bit down, we continue that negative self-talk, that I can't manage, that I'm not good enough, that I have no future. But to really get out of that rut, because we are creatures of habit, we have to start a new habit, a habit of visualizing the goals you want to achieve. So if you're feeling down or depressed or not happy with where you are, ask yourself what you want. Where do you want to be in the near and not too distant future? If you're feeling anxious, you probably want to feel at peace. You want to feel capable. If you're feeling down, you probably want to feel also at peace and content and happy. And if you're feeling lonely, you probably want to see yourself feeling connected and engaged with people around you. So visualize yourself. Spend some quiet time when you won't be disturbed. Do some relaxed breathing, anything to relax your muscles. And see yourself in the not too distant future. And at that time, see yourself achieving the goals, having achieved the goals, and where you want to be. What do you see? What do you hear? And how do you feel? The more you make it real, the more likely it's going to be real in the near future. So visualization is essential because that will create a new framework for your nervous system, for your subconscious mind. It's a blueprint which you're going to be moving rather than the same old. So the next time you want to complain about how you're feeling in your situation, first think about where you want to be. Turn it into a goal. And then we can break down those goals into simple steps that it's not so overwhelming. And you can see your family doctor to guide you in goal setting to find meaning in your life. And finally, the fourth skill is stress management, dealing with the inevitable ups and downs and stresses of everyday life.